What's up, everybody, and welcome to JFK Book Reviews. I am Rob Clark. Alongside me is Joe Borelli, and we will be reviewing the book A Farewell to Justice by Joan Mellen today. It clocks in at 608 pages. Joe, it's a thick one.
It is.
And this is actually the revised edition that was published in 2013 by Skyhorse Publishing. The original was published in 2005 by an outfit called Potomac Publishing. Joan Mellen was a professor at Temple University for many, many years, the author of over 20 books, Joe, including this one, which was her first foray into the JFK assassination. It includes 23 chapters, a 90-page update, a notes section, which you'll get more into here in a minute, and is also indexed thoroughly. It also has many, many pictures included in the book, never before seen, which is interesting. The book itself can be found on Amazon in Kindle form for $11.99, audiobook form for $33 if you're rich, hardcover for $18, and paperback for somewhere around $15 to $20. And it can be found as low as $6.54 at the current moment.
That's a steal.
That is a steal. And Joe, this book does take a conspiracy lean. So if you could just take us into the meat and potatoes of this book.
I'd be happy to. So what did Joan Mellen hope to achieve in this book? I think the goal of the book was to vindicate and defend New Orleans District Attorney Jim Garrison's investigation into the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Garrison was the only public official to ever indict a suspect, Clay Shaw, in Kennedy's murder in 1969. The Shaw was found not guilty in 1969. The author portrays Garrison as a complex, relentless figure whose investigation faced opposition from the CIA, FBI, the mainstream media, and even Robert F. Kennedy. The book is both a biography of Garrison and a reinvestigation of the assassination, blending thorough research with a narrative style likened to an epic but tragic novel. Overall, Mellen presents Garrison's work as a courageous, if flawed, pursuit of truth, arguing it revealed a government-orchestrated conspiracy that reshaped U.S. history. The book challenges the Warren Commission's conclusion that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone as an unstable pro-Castro Marxist. Mellen argues that Oswald was not a Marxist, but was working with the FBI, CIA, and U.S. Customs Service. Drawing on previously unreleased documents and witness interviews, many with first-time witnesses and other persons of interest associated with the assassination Garrison's investigation. Rob, however, there are a few mistakes in this book, and I'm going to go through one now. Quote, although Garrison never learned that Jack Martin, his first real witness, not only served with military intelligence, but was himself a former CIA employee. Jack's real name was John J. Martin, and he worked for the agency throughout the 50s. John J. Martin was a low-ranking intelligence assistant who joined the agency in November of 1950. What emerges from the record is that John J. Martin, aka Jack Martin, never left the agency. Now, I can appreciate how easy it is to get the Martins confused, because during our Martin series, in our initial research, we got a lot of them confused. But here she confuses Jack Martin to be Joseph James Martin, a CIA employee in the transportation branch, 1950 to 1958. Now, Jack Martin did have a John J. Martin alias in Kentucky, but he's not the same Joseph Martin that worked for the CIA in the 50s. So she's conflating the two here. And that's not an insignificant mistake to make either, Rob.
No.
We have zero evidence that Jack Martin, in New Orleans, real name Edward Suggs, ever worked for the CIA, although Martin himself did claim that he did. And there are other similar mistakes and embellishments scattered in the book. The book is well written, although the author does jump around in terms of subject matter, time periods, and locations, and would be difficult for someone just getting into the JFK assassination to easily follow. The way the book is footnoted is a little confusing, Rob, a little frustrating. Let me bring this up real quick. And there are no footnote numbers on the pages. So you have to go to the footnote section in the back of the book, find the page and the line number, then go back to the page in the book and count the lines of which the note refers to. And there are 130 pages of footnotes. And so it is well sourced, but it takes a decent amount of time to find those sources. So I will kick it back off to you for your thoughts and ratings.
Well, thank you, Joe. You know, this is one books when it comes to the New Orleans part of the story, the Garrison investigation, all the New Orleans seedy characters, and everything that was going on there. It's one of my favorite aspects of the Kennedy assassination. So this is one of my go-to books. As I said before, this is one of Joan Mellen's first forays into the Kennedy assassination, which Joe said took her over 7 years to write. Cost her over $100,000 to do, thousands of interviews for this book. She traveled the country. Aside from some of the factual errors, this book is just chocked full of information about all of these colorful, seedy New Orleans characters that are intertwined in the narrative of the Garrison investigation in 1967, 1968, 1969. And her being a very pro-Garrison fan, spurned, of course, this book, spurned a biography of Jim Garrison, the man himself, which goes into a lot more detail about his life in general, not just this aspect and part of his life. Critics kind of spurn this book as they normally do when somebody comes out of left field that's not part of the Kennedy assassination research community and drops a giant bomb of a book with loaded with information, especially that supports Garrison, which is not a very popular opinion in the community, at least, what he did to Clay Shaw. But that being said, Joe, personally, I love the book. It's a resource, although you do have to do your own fact checking just to make sure what you're reading is truthful. But that being said, Joe, I think I'm going to give this book an 8.5 out of 10 guns up. Bum, 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 bum. How about you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's a ton of information in this book. It's if you're interested in the New Orleans aspect of the assassination, Oswald's time there, the Garrison investigation, it's a must read. There's a lot of information in there, interviews that was not previously out there before she came out with this. I don't agree with some of her conclusions. One example would be Lee Harvey Oswald working undercover for not one, not two, but three different agencies. But that doesn't mean there's a ton of great research and assassination tidbits in there. And so I give this book a solid 7 guns up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And that is our review of Joan Mellen's book, A Farewell to Justice, which, of course, is a ripoff of A Farewell to Arms title. But it's all good. So the reason I wanted to do this book is because Joan Mellen recently passed away within the past couple of weeks. And we wanted to do this in her memory. May she rest in peace, and thank her for her contributions to the JFK assassination research community. That being said, if you enjoyed what you saw here today, we do a podcast about the Kennedy assassination live every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube, and every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern for our channel members. So if you dug this, you'll dig that. Check us out. We'll see you over there. And for Joe Borelli, I'm Rob Clark. Peace.